start right now. We're gonna play one of Jamie Harrison's songs. It's called "Depressive State." So let's go.
In a depressive state, how long will I feel this way? Is it forever? In my mind, prisoner, will I be okay? Will I ever be okay? And not someone that everyone hates. Will I ever be okay? I'm locking all the doors to my house. Lights off, no need to ever come around. You can take my number off your fridge. You never need it, never need it. Not even to be saved for a rainy day. Oh, if I were you, I'd forget I ever knew my name. And now you wanna call and say you're sorry, but you're not sure what for. Save your apologies, I can't take yours anymore. In a depressive state, how long will I feel this way? Is it forever? In my mind, prisoner, will I be okay? Will I ever be okay? And not someone that everyone hates. Will I ever be okay? Who knows? Chicken rain. I could have sworn I was happy before you left. I guess I could have been a bummer the whole time. In a depressive state, how long will I feel this way? Is it forever? In my mind, prisoner, will I be okay? Will I ever be okay? And not someone that everyone hates. Will I ever be okay? Will I ever be
So that was a song by Jamie Harrison. It's called "Depressive State." Great song. It was a great song and everything. I liked it.
Thank you.
So let's start with the show. My name is Dion Davis. This is the Dion Davis Show called "Positivity is the Way to Go." She is a Texas-raised folk and roll singer, songwriter, criminal justice reform activist. Welcome, my guest today, Jamie Harris.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you on. So let's get started. What made you want to become a singer?
When I was 5 years old, I heard an Emmylou Harris Christmas song called Light of the Stable. And I kept putting it on repeat. And I got my first guitar that Christmas and started singing not long after that in public with my dad. I played in a little duo with my dad, but I think I always came out singing. My dad was in a cover band, still plays with them occasionally, and my parents had me really young. And so my dad played in this cover band to put himself through college and law school. So I was around music from the time I was very young.
Oh, okay. Great story.
And I sang in the church too. I grew up in the Baptist church where there's a lot of music and
You was in a
uh,
choir.
yes, I went. Yes, I did choir, orchestra, all anything musical I could get into, whether it was at church or at school or after school. I was super into that as a kid and a
So you could have
teenager.
been like a gospel singer then.
I could have been maybe one day I could still try that. Mavis Staples is one of my ultra
Oh,
favorites.
okay. You could be like a Mary J. Blige, you know.
That'd be cool.
What made you want to be a criminal justice activist?
Well, I had an experience in the criminal justice system. It's very minor compared to, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I guess what happened to me was I had been arrested for drunk driving. It was my second arrest. And I did get sober. I will say the criminal justice system, in its defense, did encourage me to get sober, and I haven't had a drink in over 7 years, and I'm really grateful for that. But 60 days into my experience, I of course was ordered by the state of Texas, or at least Travis County, to not drink as a condition of my release. Now, this is before I was sentenced um, or even convicted of a crime. This is just the period from when I got out of jail before I went before a judge um, to deal with the charges before me. And a condition of that, being out on bond, I guess, was that I was to not drink or use substances. And at 60 days sober, um, I was told by a woman that's in a counseling situation with the state of Texas or Travis County, that they wanted to send me to outpatient rehab. And at that, I was like, sure, totally happy to do that. No problem. At the time, I did happen to have insurance, which is unusual, or at least was for me at that time, even have insurance, you know what I mean? So the insurance told me at 60 days sober, I was too sober to go to rehab. They would not cover the cost of my rehab, and I couldn't afford the cost that it would be to go to rehab. I think it was like $800 a month, and I just that was beyond what I could pay. And so I went back to my counselor at Travis County and I asked her, hey, at this point I'm 75 days sober, which is the longest I've been able to abstain from drinking. I tried several times before, and 75 days was the longest I'd gone. And her suggestion to me was to start drinking again to reset my sobriety date so that my insurance would cover the cost of rehab. And I have some privilege that allowed me to figure out a way around that, because I believe that if I had started drinking again at the command of that woman, that I might not be alive today. So I basically think that there are several well-meaning people in the world that believe that, or at least in this country, that you do what is requested of you if you get caught, or if you commit a crime. And um and if you do what is requested of you, that you will be released from the system. And that's not how it works. It's a system in this country that is designed to be punitive instead of rehabilitative. And a lot of the prisons in our country are for profit. And so there's not an incentive to give our population a second chance. The incentive is to keep them in the criminal justice system, whether that means on long-term probation, in jail if they can't afford bond, which there's actually movement right now to eliminate cash bail so that those who haven't even been convicted of a crime, but have just been arrested, don't have to sit in jail for long extended periods of time just because they're financially unable to get out of jail. So basically where a lot of my concern is related to how addiction is tied into the criminal justice system. And I want to separate those things. I believe that um, incarceration should not be a response to addiction. And I also believe that we shouldn't have minimum mandatory sentences in this country. And there's an organization called Families Against Minimum Mandatory Sentencing that is working on some legislation right now that hopefully might get pushed through that would change that.
Yeah, because I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and right now with federal time, they're making everybody do 100% of the time now.
Wow. Really? I didn't know that.
Well, that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true at all. But, maybe it's fake news, but I heard they gonna make people do all their time.
That's since there's a, situation. I don't know if you heard about this, but this just like broke my heart. Today, the day that we're recording this, they announced like Bill Cosby is getting out of
Oh
jail.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But last week there's I believe she's 76-year-old woman that was released from jail or prison. I assume it's prison, I guess, because she was on parole. From, as basically when they released a lot of inmates during COVID, she was one of the inmates that was allowed to be released. And she was taking a computer class. And her probation officer called while she was in the class for an hour, and she didn't pick up because she was in a computer class, like learning how to develop skills to better ensure her employment status. And because of that, it was considered a violation of her parole, and she has been sent back to prison.
Okay, that's crazy.
That's crazy. That's the kind of stuff that just absolutely enrages me.
Well, as me being a black African American male, I don't really have a lot of positives about the justice because the minorities and all that stuff. The justice set up for us to fail and get in trouble.
Yep. Absolutely right. Yep.
They don't like minorities at all, especially black males. That's too much sorrow when they just kill people for no reason. Everything.
Yeah. It's it's just an
Yeah, I
awful
don't I
situation.
don't believe in the justice system at all. I think it's too fishy for me.
We agree on that, Dion. I agree with your opinion. I think your opinion is correct.
Yeah, it's too many flaws and everything and loopholes
Hmm. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
people they know how to beat the system, the bad guy.
Yeah, and so one of the benefits of being a musician is that, or at least what, with what I do, is that I get to travel the world and see how things work in other countries. So,
Like
uh,
Europe, Africa, right, Asia, Antarctica.
yeah, so like, my partner has been to Norway several times, and she had an opportunity to go to, they actually, I don't believe they call them prisons there, they call them hospitals. And the inmates are not inmates, they're patients.
Oh,
And
okay.
they wear street clothes. You can't tell the difference between a patient and a doctor.
I would
And
have
it
felt
is,
like I was in a hospital while I was hearing that.
yeah, right.
I would have said, "Man, what happened to the? We in the hospital?"
Right. But that's the idea, is that it's that it is rehabilitative instead of our system, which is based on the British system, which is
Yeah.
punitive and a lot for profit, which is a problem.
Well, they always got the bad guy get away with the bad guy gets away in the justice system, and the system is set up for the good guy to go to jail for a long time.
Mhm.
Sadly, and it ain't gonna change. It's gonna get worse.
I'm hoping that we do change. I hope that enough people get involved that we can tell. I still do believe, and maybe it is naive, but I believe that if we get involved in voting for our local representatives
Yeah,
and the representatives, that like what we can do is we can vote for judges in our district
yeah, cause
that here in Nashville, we actually have a judge who started a drug court. So it's an alternative to prison, is that you can go to a rehab, and it involves housing, sober housing, and educational resources. There's a system like that set up in Tulsa called Women in Recovery that provides housing and education and parenting classes. And it's all an alternative specifically for people who get entangled in the criminal justice system that are dealing with addiction.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
why
it's
I like
my hope
that's,
more
that,
of those judges elected, more people, in those power positions. And, one of the things in our country is we're one of the only, we might be the only country where we elect district attorney or prosecutors.
yeah, we behind China.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we the United States, I don't one thing I don't like is the judges are always gonna be crooked. Even if you vote, they always gonna have crooked judges on the case and everything. So even if you vote, they always gonna find a way to get that person off. So it don't even matter at the end of the day. A lot of times.
I want to believe that if enough people get involved,
No,
we,
yeah.
but like I
I'm never gonna believe in judges. They too crooked for me. They've been crooked for hundreds of years now. It ain't gonna change.
I have to hold on to some hope. But
I'm just glad we got a new president. He gonna get things in order. I'm a Democrat. I'm for the poor people.
yeah, same.
We gotta tax those rich people, like make them pay their taxes.
Yeah, I agree.
What motivates you to do what you do?
I think it's always changing. I don't think there's one answer to the question that you asked, but I do think that the best answer that I can give you right now is searching for truth. I think that every time I face a blank page and I write a song, if I'm doing my job, the song seems to contain a lot more knowledge than I as the songwriter have at the time that I write it. And if it's a good one and it sticks around, it continues to teach me a lot of lessons about empathy. uh really empathy is kind of the big overarching thing. um but yeah, I think it's searching for truth, searching to understand what's going on inside of me, what's going on in a world that I don't understand. Being a part of the music community and being able to communicate with songs helps me exist in the world in a way that is difficult for me to do without music. I feel like I'm actually, my belief about myself is that I'm not such a great speaker. I'm not very articulate, or sometimes my brain, I'm learning a lot about my brain right now, but that it goes so much faster than my mouth can catch up with. And so I have a hard time finishing thoughts. But with the song, I seem there's some sort of mysterious thing that happens where to communicate it. It feels I consider it a spiritual practice, and it allows me to make sense of a world I don't understand. And I don't understand how it works.
I'm, I'm
But yeah, the truth is my motivation.
I'm 24 years old and I still don't know how the world. I still don't understand the world at all. It's going crazy. There's too much stuff happening on this earth today that I never seen before. I'm like, what is
Mhm.
going? I'm like, what the world is this? What is this?
Love that. What the world. There's a great songwriter I love, named Butch Hancock. And one of my favorite sayings that he has is, "What a planet." And
Yeah.
it just works in so many situations. What a planet.
I always call this the whatever. What you could do whatever you could have what you could do whatever you like on this world. It's like the song, you could have whatever you like. This the
Yeah.
do whatever world. People do whatever they want on this earth. People do whatever when they want to do it. It don't matter what the time, place, or day is. They just do whatever when they want to. When did you know that music was it or was it for you, and that you wanted to pursue that and change everything around?
I feel like something really happened to me when I was 5 and I heard that Emmylou Harris song, and Emmylou Harris is still, like, one of my ultra heroes. I don't think there's a voice that I've listened to more in my life than Emmylou Harris. There's something in her voice and the way that really honors songwriters' songs with the way that she delivers them that is really powerful to me. But when I was 12 years old, or I guess I must have been 11 years old because it's the 20-year anniversary of the first Austin City Limits Music Festival. And my dad took me, and it was 2 days, and I got to see Emmylou Harris, Patty Griffin, Buddy Miller, Julie Miller, I believe James McMurtry, and Sean Colvin all on the same day. And it blew my mind. And that's when I knew, I feel like I knew very early on that I wanted to be in music, but that's when I knew I wanted to be a songwriter. And I knew my grandmother had told me that she was in, I think, Bible study with Julie Miller's mother in Waco, and that Julie Miller had spent time in Waco, Texas, which is where I'm from. And so to see someone that I knew that was from Waco on that stage singing with Emmylou Harris had recorded her songs. That made it feel possible for me to be a songwriter.
Okay. Well, you at in Tennessee, they got a lot of good country music there, like Luke Bryan, Carrie Underwood, Keith Urban. You in the
Mhm.
country music capital of the world.
I am. Yeah, I am.
And
I
then where
am.
you at from Texas, Megan Thee Stallion from Texas.
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. That's cool.
Yeah, I think she from Texas. I think. I think
That's
she from
wild.
Atlanta or Texas somewhere. But it's a lot of people from Texas though. Texas is a big state. U.S. always hot though. It's always hot in those places where you at.
In Nashville and in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, you like high climates. You
I
come
guess
to
so. Yeah.
Chicago, it's cold and months out of the year. You ain't gonna like it.
Yeah. Well, I was in Illinois, Effingham, Illinois a couple weeks ago, and it was 98
Okay.
degrees when I was on stage at
You should come to
7:30.
Chicago to see me. I'm in the city.
I love to come to Chicago. It's one of my favorite cities.
Yeah, we
What?
got chilled and everything. You in your 22, right?
I'm 31. I'm
31.
31.
Okay.
One of my favorite things about Chicago is it's the heart of the pinball industry. I'm a huge fan of pinball machines. I don't know if that,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
I
a
ain't
lot of
know that. That's something unique. You have every you got a lot of stories and everything. That's a good thing.
yeah, well, thank you.
What has been your favorite city to perform in?
Ooh, that's a really difficult question. I don't know if I can answer it. I do feel like, it's funny talking about Texas. I don't know if it's just because I'm from there, but I love I love playing songs in Texas for those Texas songwriters. But I love playing, we got to play Union Chapel in London. And we were talking about Mavis Staples earlier. Mavis had played there, made a live record there a few weeks before we got there. And that's really magical. I basically like to play in any city where folks are into good songs.
Okay. Well, I just think so you like Texas better than any place? You don't like have you ever performed in Chicago or
I actually had one of my favorite gigs in my entire life in Chicago. It was at the City Winery there.
okay.
And my uncle lives in Indianapolis, and he came, and it was a show with Mary Gauthier, Gretchen Peters, who talk about country music. She's written some of the best country songs and just best songs, period. And her husband Barry Walsh plays piano. And I got to sit, and Gretchen and Mary are two of my songwriting heroes. And so to be on that stage with them was really powerful, and all the harmonies. And everyone that came up to the table had stories, and it was just really fun. So I consider that Chicago gig one of the standouts in my career so far.
Okay. Yeah. What is your most favorite song you have made in your career so far?
Hmm. Well, that's something that's always changing too. I think there are two that I'm the most proud of. One is called Snow White Knuckles, and it's my story, but it's a lot of people's story as well about the criminal justice system, about entering into recovery. And I wrote it when I was in early recovery. And to me, I started writing songs when I was 12 years old, but that feels like the first Jaimee Harris song I ever wrote. And I wrote it when I was 24 years old. There's something about writing that song that really felt like it turned. But more recently, I've written a song called Boomerang Town, and it's told from the perspective of a 17-year-old boy that's knocked up his girlfriend. He works at Walmart.
Okay.
He wants
Interesting.
he wants to get out of this town, um, and I've just it's one of the song it kind of feels like a song that I've been trying to write my whole life, but dealing with kind of where I grew up and what it felt like to be in that particular town. And um I've never worked so hard on this song. I edited it I mean, I must have wrote so many verses for that song that didn't make it in, and it's still a 7-minute long song. But that's the one I think overall when it comes to craft that I'm the most proud of.
Okay, you kept going back and everything. It's like when you don't it's like when you dress a certain way, you just keep changing clothes. You like, will this work or will this work or this work? That's you was doing with your song, right?
Exactly. Yeah, because I never know. Like I actually tried writing that from the perspective of a veteran that was hanging out at a coffee shop in Conroe, not in Conroe, in Crawford, Texas, which is
Okay.
uh, it's called the coffee shop. And they're Laura and W. Bush, George W. Bush used to hang out there quite a bit. So all these pictures of so I tried that. I tried writing from the perspective of the girl in the song who I named Julie.
Okay.
And it took a while even just to figure out what was the best perspective to tell the story from.
You very interesting. You got a lot of great stories. You're inspiration and everything with all the stories and what you've been through.
Well, thank you.
Because
Thank you.
when people go through things, it normally brings the worst out of them or the best out of them. You normally go one way or another in life.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing I know about Texas is I like the big Texas, like the Danishes, they very good. And then the accents people they got from Texas. They're like, hello, how you doing today? I'm from Texas, all that stuff, That's what I think of and everything.
The Danish, the kolaches. Have you ever
Yeah.
had the? Yep, they're the best. They are the best. We
You
were
like
just
the
there.
act yeah, can you do a Texas accent right now?
Do I not have one? No.
uh
I think this is a Texas act. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I can't.
okay.
I'm not so good at it at a super hardcore I mean, I guess if I'm around my family,
Okay.
Mount Pleasant, it can get like that.
You be
But
grabbing those horses with the ropes and everything, like giddy up, get over here, and wearing your cowboy hat.
I will wear a cowboy hat every once in a while.
Uh,
It's kind of a but
you
I
know what they say, right? Everything is bigger in Texas.
Mhm. Including egos, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, people are overhyped and everything, right?
I mean, I don't think I'm a native. I won't tell you Texas is overhyped. I think it's
No, I'm saying
appropriate.
some people like some of the people they overhype their stuff. They talk they a big game, because they're Texas and everything. And don't nobody know who they are at all. They talk about, look at me, I'm from Texas. Look at me, the Sunshine State. How has the pandemic changed how you tour?
We during the pandemic, I started learning how to play a little bit of lead guitar, which I never done before. So a lot of times I play with my partner as an opening act, and then I play or I sing harmonies with her and I play guitar. And so during the pandemic, I learned a little bit of that, and we just did our first gigs back, and every artist is different. So a lot of artists just completely canceled all of the dates that they have. We rescheduled, which is great because we're back on the road already. And it's so great to be on stage doing what we do, having somebody else run sound instead of me doing it um, and that's been really fun going for a lead because I've been doing this a really long time and I'm not like the best in the world, but I'm pretty confident as a side person, as a harmony singer, just because I grew up, singing in the church harmonies or just naturally in the car, I would sing harmonies. I'm very comfortable doing that. It's kind of thrilling to be trying something new in front of sold out audiences. Like I know I'm not the greatest at playing this lead guitar, but I have to start somewhere. And everyone is really encouraging. And so that wouldn't have happened without the pandemic because I wouldn't have had enough time to slow down and work on it.
You gotta believe in yourself though. You can do it. You know, you can do anything you put your mind to. Don't sell yourself short. You want to be overconfident, not have a lot of confidence. You want to be overconfident. You know,
Yeah, it's
you
fun. I
gotta
mean,
believe.
today I went and saw there's some friends of mine that play with Steve Earle, the songwriter Steve Earle, and he has a rockin' band. They're really, really great. Some of the best musicians in the world. And one of my friends, he's like a awesome guitar player, and he hit, out of 90 minutes of awesome music, he hit one wrong note, and he was just laughing. He's like, "Oh yeah," and most people don't even know. It's like you gotta have a sense of humor about it. So it's like, yes, like to me that was encouraging. Like, oh, even Chris Masterson hit one wrong note. I've seen that guy play so many times with so many people. I don't want him to hear this and be like, oh no, she's harping on a wrong note I played. But it's like I've never ever. I'm like, this guy just doesn't hit bad notes. He's just absolutely perfect. And like,
Okay. No, he probably hit some bad notes. And nobody's perfect at all. He probably hit one or twice
yeah, he gets
that went unnoticed. He just didn't say it at all. You know.
yeah, and that's the thing. Most people don't even
Yeah, they
don't
ain't gonna. It's like when you fall outside. They like, I don't ever fall. I'm always standing up. I never failed outside before. What are you talking about?
yeah.
They like, you didn't see it, so you don't know.
Exactly, you don't see so it was like that was like a little bit encouraging to me, and it just like it's really thrilling. At first it was just terrifying. And like when we were on the road before the pandemic, I was just playing guitar along. I was like, I'm not really, an accompanist on the guitar. Like that was scary enough. And now I can only get better. And I feel the audience really embracing it. And we've been doing a live stream every Sunday at 2 o'clock on our Facebook page. And so a lot of the people that have been watching our streams every Sunday have been watching me grow and try this during the pandemic. So when they come to the shows, they're like, you're really doing better. And it feels
Yay,
rooting
Jamie.
for me, which is nice because they could be like, girl, you should just not. Y'all should just hire a guitar player. They're
They
like,
like give up. They like your career is over. You suck. Get out of here. You know.
stick to the singing, but yeah, it's cool because they are. It's not just that they feel like they're a part of the journey. They are. They've totally been with us every Sunday, watching it evolve.
They live through you and your other singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was great. It was great having you on it all day, Jamie. You are a very inspirational person, and your story is great and everything, and how far you have come, and you got more to. We all got things to work on. You're doing a great job, and I like your music.
Thank you, Dion. Thanks for having me, and I hope you stay warm up there in Chicago.
Well, it's hard when it's cold and Ammon's out of year.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
maybe
but
I'll see you next time. We can play some pinball. We can find
oh, okay. You should come to Chicago. We can hang out and stuff. You know.
Love it. I'll let you know when we're
So
coming.
okay, so Jamie Harris is gonna play one of her songs live. I don't know which one, but she about to play one of her songs live right now. So let me hand it off. Here's Jamie Harris.
Thank you. Well, I guess
With one of her songs.
yeah, I guess since I talked about it, I'll play Boomerang Town, which will be the title track of this next record, which is we're mixing it right now. It's almost finished. So. I was working at the supermarket when I fell for Julie, knocked her up. That
like everybody said I would. The day I turned 16, I got that job. I couldn't wait to buy a car, save enough, leave this town for good. In August, I asked Julie if she'd run away. She said she wanted to wait till May to graduate. She'd be the first in her family, so I stayed behind. Thought she could get a scholarship to college, become a nurse, travel the world, but all that took a back seat when we saw those double lines. As for me, the only dream I've ever had is getting out of this boomerang town. You think you're soaring, you think you're flying, too young to know there's no use trying. You spin in circles, round and round in this boomerang town. It's a boomerang town. Julie got a GED and a job of 35. The only joint in town that's open all night, the diner next to the seminary. She serves the truckers, the troubadours, the punks, the college kids who trash their booze, all stoned and drunk, who always pay but never tip with daddy's money. Julie and I come from similar kin, heavy drinkers, quick to anger's fist to skin. They all live and die here. That won't be us, I swore to her. I promise you we'll see the world. I just don't know when. As for me, the only dream I've ever had is getting out of this boomerang town. You think you're soaring, you think you're flying, too young to know there's no use trying. You spin in circles, round and round in this boomerang town. It's a boomerang town. After shift, she lights a smoke up on the bridge under the billboard painted Jesus steps over the rail, thinks about salvation. The sun arrives, collides with the steeple, cast a shadow over God's most desperate people. Julie takes it as a sign. Let's go and starts flying. As for me, the only dream I've ever had is getting out of this boomerang town. It feels like soaring, it feels like flying. Now I know it's only dying. You spin in circles, round and round in this boomerang town.
Wow, what a
Jamie
performance by
Harris.
Jamie Harris. That was one of her world premieres on her new album that's coming out soon.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell people where they where they can find your music at to hear some of your music?
Yes. Thank you for asking. So yeah, you can check out pretty much anything I have recorded at jaimeeharris.com, Jaimee Harris.com. And then I also have a Patreon, which is a platform where I call it the Folk and Roll Fan Club, because I call what I do folk and roll. And so you can join for as little as $3 a month. And I share music there that isn't released anywhere else. Right now, since I'm making the record, I'm sharing a lot of behind the scenes content with my patrons exclusively, and cover videos that I don't share anywhere else. So that's a really fun way to get extra music.
Well, it was great having you on. Maybe you could come on again on my show one day. You one of my favorite guests I have had.
Thank you, Dion. Thanks for asking me, for following up with me, and yeah, maybe I'll see you when the new record comes out.
Yeah, and maybe you can come to Chicago, or we may see each other in person one day
Perfect. Love it.
and hang out.
Yeah, love it.
And you give me, you can speak some Texas accent. You know, who knows?
I'll sneak some tech. I'll show you some pinball tricks.
Oh, okay. I'll learn how to play that game. You know.
Yeah, cool.